most amazing and awesome artists. Today we're going to be creating the rainbow fish. To draw the rainbow fish, we're going to need pencils and Sharpies. To begin with, we'll start with pencil. If you've never drawn a fish before, don't worry because I'm here to help you out today. So we're going to draw together. Even if you already know how to make your own kind of fish, we're going to draw this first one together and then you're welcome to add or change anything you want to. You need to start with your paper horizontally. That means side to side, not up and down the tall way. You want it the long way. That's called horizontal. After you get a horizontal paper, you want to write your name and class code. All right, let's get started. Go ahead and grab a piece of paper, hold it horizontally, and write your name and class code in pencil on the back. Here we go. Once you have a pencil, your paper horizontal, and your name and class code on the back, we're going to get started to draw. Now, every time that you finish with a step, please place your pencil in the air, hold it in the air, so we know when to press play and when to move on. That'll mean that we'll go to the next step, but we want to wait for almost everybody before we move on. Now, I'm going to be drawing with a Sharpie. You should be drawing with a pencil. I'm only using Sharpie because I want you to be able to see my lines on the screen. But you should use a pencil just in case you make any mistakes because it all happens. And there's no such things as mistakes in art, just happy accidents, so just try your best. To start out with, draw a big arch like a rainbow. You want that arch to be in the middle of your paper, going towards the top. Draw it really, really big. Make sure it takes up most of that paper. Put your pencil in the air when you're done. Next, I'm going to ghost draw the bottom of my arch. So I ghost draw with my finger first, then I take my drawing tool, which you should have a pencil, and I finish off that shape at the bottom, putting it upside down rainbow or arch. That makes a shape that kind of looks like a football. It's called an ellipse. Now I'm going to put a circle near the top left of my shape, or my football, for the eyeball. Go ahead and make a circle on your paper. After I make that one circle, I'm going to put a second circle, a little bit smaller, inside of my circle. After I've done with that circle, I'm going to make one more circle to fill in for the pupil. I just color that in really quickly. After you're done making both circles, then I just go boop and draw a little curved line above the eye, kind of like an eyebrow. After that, I'm going to draw a curvy line, like a smile, near the fish's mouth, the top or middle left. After you've got a nice curve, go ahead and add an arch on top of that curve. Now on the bottom, I'm going to do the same thing upside down. Making some fishy lips. It's okay if your fish looks different because all fish are different. They're not the same. Then I add a little boop just to show that that fish is smiling. Now I am going to ghost draw with my finger near the middle to the right of the eye. That's going to separate my fish's head from its body. Now, not because the head's separated by the body, but because that's where I'm going to be putting my scales. Now, I'm also going to put the fin on the top. I'm going to start and then go ahead and draw a curvy line on the top of your fish, connecting at the top on the left and connecting down on the bottom right. Kind of looks like my fish is wearing a cowboy hat. It's okay if yours looks a little different. Yours might be wearing a different type of fin. All fish are different, and that's what makes them awesome and what makes you awesome. Go ahead and draw your fin on there. It might not look the same, and that's okay. After I draw my top fin, I'm going to be drawing the bottom fin. Now, the bottom fin is going to come out in the bottom middle. It's just going to be another curvy line that goes down around and back up again, kind of like a letter V. After you're done making the top fin and the bottom fin to give him a little bit of accessories or her, then I'm going to jazz it up by putting some squiggly lines on there. You can make a line. Go ahead and make 1, 2, or 3 curvy lines to show that that fish has movement, and maybe some stripes too. After you make all your wavy lines, then I'm going to make my fishtail. It's okay if you don't have room for your fishtail. However much room you have is how much you can do for your tail. I made 1 line at the top and then 1 line go out the bottom. That's going to start my tail. Now I'm going to connect those 2 lines with a wiggly line because my fish is swimming through the sea. Then I go ahead and decorate it again by putting a few more squiggly lines on there to show that he or she is moving through that water. After I do that, I'm ready to start my fishy scales. To start my fish scales, as you can see, all of the scales aren't lined up. They're in different places. So they're not a perfect pattern. They're slightly off. So it's like I'm making the letter M or C sideways again and again and again. A backwards letter C until I get all the way to the bottom of my fish. Now, once you've done the first row of scales, it kind of helps to turn the book so I can show you how the second row of scales look because they're not perfectly lined up. That second row actually starts in the middle or in between every one of your first row of scales. So when I go to make my second row of scales, I'm going to start it in the middle of my first one. Just like that. And then I go ahead and do the same thing, making my letter M's or backwards letter C's again and again and again until I get to the bottom. Just make sure that your scales are pretty big. If you do teeny tiny scales, you'll end up having to do a lot more work. So make them big also because we will be coloring these and painting them, so you want to have room for what we might add inside of them. I'm going to go ahead and finish my fish, but you can add whatever you'd like to yours. You'll also see that I add some seaweed in the background, maybe some bubbles coming out of my fish's mouth. You can add whatever you want to be in your ocean, in your background. Some of you might have more room in your background than others, and that's okay. Thank you for trying your best in drawing with me. I can't wait to see what you create today. All right, awesome artists. I'm going to go finish my artwork, and you can do yours. Don't forget that when you're completely finished with adding your details, your bubbles, your background, seaweed, whatever it is, you need to make sure that you trace over all of your pencil lines with a Sharpie marker, just like I did. Make sure you don't miss any of your pencil lines, and now would be a good time to erase if you needed to make any changes. Go ahead and trace over all of your pencil lines with a nice new Sharpie marker, and then erase all of the pencil lines underneath, because that'll make it nice and neat so we can color and paint it next week. So make sure that you're tracing over everything, because when you go to erase in the safety zone of your letter L, you will notice that your paper will crinkle if you go outside of that safety zone. So stay within that safety zone. You know how to do that. All right, awesome artists. I can't wait to see what you create.